warm welcome to this special edition of the program Guest of the Week. This edition is special because we'll have a man on a special mission. He is fighting for the rights of the public as it concerns a very important commodity, electricity. Now, electricity consumers in the Southeast, under the auspices of the Southeast Electricity Consumers Association, SEECA, have embarked on a 1-month warning strike over some issues they have with the service provider, the EEDC, and Geometrics. Some of their complaints borders around non-availability of prepaid meters, arbitrary billing through estimation, and epileptic power supply. The strike action began on the 15th of June 2024, and it's expected to last for 1 month. When we return, you'll get to meet my guest. I am Susan Eze. Thanks for being there. Now, my guest on the program, Guest of the Week today, is Reverend Obiora Okechukwu. Reverend Obiora Okechukwu is the chairman of the Southeast Electricity Consumers Association, SEECA. Reverend Obiora, you're welcome to Guest of the Week.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. The issue on ground is about electricity, which is very important for everybody in the society today. Now, this your association, SEECA, how did it come about? Because maybe I'm the only one. Until this, the dust you've raised about your complaints began to circulate, I don't think I've heard about, I never knew that consumers have an association. So when and how did it come about?
Yeah, we started the association about 10 years ago.
Really?
And it was called Enugu Electricity Consumers Forum. And then because we took that name from the EEDC, which happened to be the only disco at that time. And then over this period of time, we've been interfacing and, going into interfacing with the EEDC and even with NEC, the regulatory body to this commodity we call electricity, and then with the consumers. Complaints come, we take it to EEDC, they solve it. They listen to us, we solve it. But sometime this year, we felt that the problems that the consumers have been having is growing so monumental and becoming more serious than what it used to be, because it's expected that by the time the EEDC took over from PSCN, when they bidded and they bought, they somewhat became like a caretaker of the electricity distribution. They came in and they became the only disco around, giving out light to the consumers. We expected that things will get better, because before now, we were having what we call epileptic power supply. But over this period of time, the infrastructures that PSA handed over to them is decayed so much that it got to a point that before, when they started, if you report about transformer, fault transformers, they will respond quickly like they used to do in the PSCN. But over a period of time, I don't know what happened, whether they were short of members of staff or whatever, they were not attending to these problems, and it became so escalated and monumental. So this year, one of the things that happened that made us to come up again and intensify our advocacy is because the estimated billing that have been going on have become so rife in almost every home. And the bulk billing, they talked about bulk billing, where they would give a kind of meter to your transformer in a particular area, and they'll be reading them. And they don't even relate with the consumers around that environment to read the transformer to know the accurate reading. And then they go into community billing also. So these things have been so much, and where communities and individuals don't have light, they keep getting bills that keep on getting out outrageously every month, galloping like an inflation. So we now came up as, yes, we have to come up again, get ourselves together, not just waiting until Enugu, until Aba, where we had some chapters. We need to extend this because the noise has been so much from every local government, every community of the Southeast zone. And again, we notice that there have been so shortage of supply. The Southeast have virtually been in darkness. I mean, you don't get light, many communities don't get light, many cities don't get light, and so on. And even when they give it to you, 1 hour, 2 hours, they'll take the light, and they'll begin to ask. So we came up, how we came up to be SEECA, because a disco came in sometime. They have been there for 2 years because Geometrics took over Aba Ring area from 2022, and they've been having the same problem anyway. And so sometime this year, His Excellency Dr. Lesoti came and gave a kind of buffer to Geometrics, and it became to be noised about that is 247, which was like we've seen now, it was all a kind of media hype, because the people in the Aba area are having serious problem, more even problem and complaints than those in EEDC. So that's why we now came up and said, it's no longer going to be anyway electricity consumers association as in EEDC. It's going to be now Southeast Electricity Consumers Association. That's SEECA, in a short form. And that's why we're carrying on our campaign now.
All right. So based on these issues you've raised now, you've called out your members on the strike action, which began on the 15th of this month and is expected to last for 1 month. So what exactly are the demands?
The demand
main
is that,
reasons for this strike action?
When we came up and got ourselves together about 4 months ago, precisely on the 22nd of February this year, we wrote to EEDC by our lawyer and say, meter every consumer in the whole Southeast. We don't know how they are going to do it because it came, like I said, it's been so monumental now. 90% of electricity users, consumers in the Southeast, don't have prepaid meter. And then we became worrisome. And we said, look, this estimated billing is killing. It's energy sapping. It's very costly to the people who are using it. Somebody in 1 room or 2 rooms or a room and balance, or you give them 20,000 and something, and it doesn't come down. The argument, even like EEDs will say, they have a shortage of megawatts of electricity. And then we came up even this year that the Genco generating company had said we generate 4,000 something, and the discos only buy from us 2,000 something kilowatts, because you don't say you started by load shedding and then you took it as an excuse. Now you don't give people a light again every time you say megawatts, but the megawatts are being generated and you don't collect them from there. When you started from PSN, some of us were private that you buy lights of 2 billion naira when it started. But now, if you go into your records, you may be buying 500 or 300 million naira light from Gencos every month. It's gone down. And all that the consumers are weakened, they are just there, they are vulnerable. They can't complain. That's why we come together, because they said, number, there's might in number. And so we've come up to tell them, we wrote them, our lawyers wrote them and said, meter everybody. If you don't meter anybody from 15th of June, we gave 3 months notice that we are going to go on strike. Well, we said strike. Then they replied us and told us, look, they meter something, yes, we are going to meter everybody, but they were trying to get loan from the World Bank. At that time, we said, what have we to do with the World Bank? If you have any problem you have, because you went and did a feasibility study, you studied, you had people, and then you bid it. And if you remember very well, that this bidding was won by Geometrics earlier, before they knew what they did, whether it was abracadabra or so, or before now EEDC went and bought it over again because they get it on bidding, and EEDC had it. So if you had that bidding, you studied very well. You bought the assets, humongous assets and liabilities of PSCN. Why would you now complain that you have no money to buy and all that? And infrastructure is so decayed now. There's no community who go to the whole side, you won't see a dilapidated transformer that's waiting to have attention of EEDC. Every community has a problem. And it got to a point that every community now is made to buy a transformer. Because when you wait for 1 week, 2 weeks, mine stayed 2.5 years, 2 years and 8 months in my own community from Uzakle. They came with their hire from Enugu, took it off from Uzakle in Abia State, and stayed 2 years and 8 months. Before, with all the struggle, with all the abuse, with all the clash with the AEDC management, before now they brought it back 2 years and 8 months. So the same thing is being suffered by everybody. That's about transformer. So the infrastructure, you've not invested, how much have you invested into the infrastructure that you took over from PSN? How much? We don't want to go on that, because if you have been doing that, there wouldn't be this problem now. Every community shouted. And then they talk about the metering. When they talked about, we now found out that by, I won't say by, maybe by accident or design, all that we started doing, then the Senate came up and approved $500 million. And then by God's grace, by the favor of the presidency or so on and so forth, they were able to secure it, which is just like about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I'm sure it's not disbursed yet. But this came on television with me, the director, head of the communications, and said, come on, we don't have meters. It said it clearly in Afia TV. Why are you now getting this prepared meters that we are giving now to people? Because they started last week to beat our strike, which we had given them a notice. Our lawyer wrote them, they replied us. Our lawyer wrote again, and then they replied us. And we say on 15th of June. What is the strike all about? We're saying that all those who have no prepared meter in the whole Southeast, don't pay your bills. Don't pay. Because we need to have what we're saying, like people were talking about band A, band B, and so on. We're not interested about the high tariff for now. We're going to go into that. But for now, we will say, give us that equipment, the little equipment which is called prepared meter, so that we can measure, calculate, and manage our energy that we're using. If I don't want to have light in my house for 1 day or 2 days or so, I'll now be in darkness and regulate it. But it's not a situation where you come with a humongous, outrageous, very unattainable estimated billing given to individuals now that is choking everybody. That even got to a point that bills they give to people on electricity alone, which they don't use, is more than how the rent you pay on your house or your property.
Reverend Obiora, I can see you're very passionate about this struggle.
I am.
Okay. Now,
on your behalf, because you're a consumer.
Exactly. I said it earlier. Everybody
Yes.
is involved.
Everybody, even the EDC workers, they are suffering.
Exactly. Now, what I want to ask,
They're in the state of Amakem, everybody now.
strike action seems to be the last option for any group seeking a redress. Now that you have called your members out on a strike, it's expected to last for 1 month.
Warning strike, we'll call it warning strike. Warning strike.
Warning strike. Do you people have room for a kind of round table discussion with the service providers? Because by the time the strike ends and nothing is done, what happens? So before you tell us what will happen after the strike, do you have room? Because while the strike is on, there is need for discussion. Every battle is settled on a round table.
Yes.
So how far have you gone into speaking, having a meeting with the authorities, the EEDC, the geometrics, as a way of seeing the problem getting solved so that strike doesn't remain the only option?
By virtue of our having written them by our lawyer on behalf of the consumers of electricity in the Southeast, it means we have sought to have attention. And then what one of them, the head of department, one of them said, oh, come on, Reverend Obia, you're a convener and all that. You are doing this to, this is a Amorphous group. You are just doing it so that you have attention. That's number one. I told him to apologize. He never apologized. I'm saying it in the public domain. The next thing, they replied us and giving excuses that they don't have money to buy this. And then thirdly, we wrote them again. There's no point bluffing. They are bluffing, unnecessarily bluffing, because you have been exploiting and extorting money from individuals, which is so clear. People don't use light, and you give them bills. And even federal government has 40%, which means by virtue of that, and as a tax-paying citizen in Nigeria, I'm a stakeholder in EEDC. I have a percentage of ownership in EEDC. Why would you not come in? You are serving us. You have a product. Ask us, because you know you can't do without us. And we know we can't do without you. Though, as EEDC, as things are progressing now, people are thinking about solar, people are thinking about other means of, even coal, or even Enugu State is starting to do whatever generation and all that. People are thinking because of the problem. So we've given opportunity for them. They don't, even at the point we say, create a SEECA platform, a table in your office. Because the complaint we're getting, various kinds of complaints of transformer purchase, transformer, after purchasing transformer, you tell them to bring 1.something million to energize it, to oil it or energize it. And even if they have done that, after having purchased transformer, which is supposed to be your property, it's your property. You ask them, you coerce them, you intimidate them. It's stealing by trick, and ask them to write a loan, write a letter that you're donating it to EEDC. Why has it been done in the whole world? You are in business for crying out loud. And then after doing that, even if they had done that out of pressure or whatever, because they are vulnerable now, they need light, then you now the next month to give them 400 something thousand bill, 1 point something million naira bill. Why would you not take the cost? Somebody has bought a transformer of 8 million and so on, certify it with your staff. Take the cost of that transformer and impute it into the energy. Exchange it or transmit it into the energy that you are giving to that community. The community can stay 1 year without paying any electricity. Why go in to give them a bill again the next month, next other month, and so people who donated their equipment to you, which you're supposed to have bought, it's a bottle of contradiction. That's what we're saying. It's confusion everywhere. So please, that's what I say. We are open. We are open. If you can be the arbiter, if you can be the middleman, NTA, we have kudos for doing that. They will bring us together. We will talk. We are now also saying that people should not pay for the prepaid meter. Don't pay. You're not supposed to pay. It's supposed to be free. It's the equipment. And so you come into business. But if you want us to pay, let's, on behalf of the consumers, those who are our members, about 75,000 membership now. Let's talk about others. Maybe you will not be there yet. Then, come on, let us discuss. If we are giving you money to assist you in your business, it's a loan. Just like you told us in the TV, TV, that you got 5 billion naira from Central Bank loan to give some meters some years back, and so on, and you're going to pay interest. I may not be asking you for interest. I'm supposed to ask you for interest for 200,000 naira. You say 3 phase meter is, or 100,000, which you say 1 phase meter is. I'm supposed to ask you a loan. But if I'm too magnanimous or philanthropic to help you exist, so that I can have life, I will remove the interest. But let me talk with you and know when that energy, because the energy is supposed to be imputed into the prepared immediately, so that I can stay and relax for 1 year, like somebody who pays a 1 year rent. You stay for no every month, your landlord knocks on you. That's what we're saying.
That talk is exactly what I was asking. Not necessarily a talk on camera in front of the TV, but around there's need. I see that there is need for it, because fighting from afar cannot solve the problem. This association needs to sit on a table and discuss with these service providers. But
they are playing the ostrich. They are playing as big elephant. They are playing as if it's we that need them. They should forget. They let them not forget that they are caretakers. Because the ECN came up to be NEPA and then came up to PSCN. And my father paid tax on that. I pay tax. I pay my tax. I'm current now, tax clearance every month from Abia State.
I want to ask, at the end of the 1 month, what next?
Well, we will not tell that. It won't even get up to 1 month. We are always thinking of calling an emergency meeting on what we call consultative assembly. That's local government chairman of SEECA, 95, and then 5 state chairmen, and the national officer. Don't forget that in our national platform, we have a national platform which is filled up. What's that platform? We can give you. You have EEDC management people there. The head of communication is there. The head of legal is there. The head of security is there. The head of customer services is there. The executive director of EEDC is there. In geometries, we have management staff there. The NEC, National Electricity Commission, they are there in the platform. So everything we do, like if you bring out this record now, we'll send there. You need it every second. In fact, the executive director of EEDC reads whatever we post there by 2 a.m. They all get the board that people are stealing their energy. Which energy? Is it the energy you give that the people are stealing? If you don't want them to steal, then give them prepaid meters. And you say that if you give prepaid meters, then they will now, the amount of people, the amount of energy they buy by person after giving them meter. But I tell you what, because everywhere is digitalized now, in EDC, which they accepted, you have your laptops. Everybody that has a prepaid meter in Enugu, in everywhere, is in their system. Check 3 months, and Reverend has not paid, in particular that meter, has not recharged for 3 months. You send your a special squad to go to that particular yard.
Let me also ask, because your group is very active in educating consumers about their rights.
Right, and obligations.
That's what I want to ask. So how far have you also gone in educating them about their obligations? Because the service providers, EDC, also always complain of people who bypass, even those who have prepaid meters. Some of them do bypass, and when they do that, the company is losing money. And the issue of vandalism. It also affects service delivery. So
Yes.
as you educate them on their rights, is your organization also educating them on their obligations to protect?
Like now we're on strike.
to pay their
Like now
bills.
we're on strike. We've told all our members, every of our members in our platform, and they're obeying, reporting from every community. EDC will come to disconnect your light if you do not pay this May bill. Don't disturb them. Don't fight them. Because they have, federal government has a tag, has 40% there. They are, if you're worrying that ED something, that tag there is governmental. It's just like fighting you. If I fight NTA staff, I'm fighting the federal government. Don't fight them. But when they go beyond disconnecting, that's what we cannot guarantee the temperament of every individual. And then go further to cut the wires that you have never bought. EDs have never bought any wire for people. They've not bought any pole for people for the last 10 years. All the poles that people they inherited from PSCN were those that were paid by Putin, by ECN, NEPA, and PSCN since they took over. So the poles that people, when you build a house, like if you want to build a house as a chata before now, if you PSCN, you write them. If they approve, they'll come and put poles because it's their property. But now you know, you see yourself, you are left on your own to buy the poles, buy the wire. So what we're saying to our members is that our members will not reconnect. Let them not talk about that. They will not, because we are determined. No member of SEECA will reconnect, because we already, my sister, he that is on the ground does not fear to fall. We have been in darkness. We have been in total darkness. So we are not even afraid. Is it the light they give 2 days or 3 days? You are seeing the relative supply of lights now. It's because of our campaign in the last 4 months. So what we're saying is that our people will not disobey. We want to stay in darkness. So stay in darkness, don't reconnect. But by the time we get to, you say 15th, we're reviewing issues now, because they did whatever they did before 15th, and they said they now wanted to, beat us up, because they felt that they are not concerned about it. But I'm telling you, everybody, that's why they say every customer has a value. And I tell people that Coca-Cola is still advertising. If you say it doesn't matter, Coca-Cola, as large as they are in the whole world, is still advertising. So they need customers. So if they are bluffing that we have about 75,000 members, well, everywhere in every community now, going like Amweba, multiplying every day, because we're educating people. So if they say that we are too few, that they cannot, they came up now, and they've never done it before. EDs have never done it. They gave a notice that they're going to cut light. If you don't pay by 10th, by 11th, they'll start disconnecting. Before 10th, overzealous staff of EDs went and cut the lights of Westsuit and other places. The snake that beat us, that has beaten us for 10 years, consumers for 10 years, the tail just touched the government of Enugu State. And then they ran Bazek, and then went in and closed their office, because they wanted to beat the 15th, and so on. So now they have opened the office with all the arrangement. But then it was then that the ED should have to tell them, Enugu State government, we have invested 2.something billion into infrastructure, just like individuals do today. When we finish all the prepared, now we're going into a level of all those that bought their transformers. Bring your genuine receipts. I'm telling you, we're going to litigate. If there is light in all the system, they won't think transformer, they won't go to this if there is light on it. They will not.
Now, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission has the duty to regulate everything that has to do with electricity distribution and consumption. What is the role of NEC in all of this?
NEC is I told NEC in our platform, they should be disbanded. Before we talked about getting them disbanded, they now brought out band A, band B. And I now go further to say they are bonded and bounded by that confusion they are creating. They don't know what they're doing, because all this discriminatory something on band A. So NEC has lived their invitation. They are compromised heavily with the discourse, and the consumers are suffering. Because all these problems have been bedeviled.
That's an allegation.
But I'm saying it, but I've told them, it's not an allegation. I've told them clearly, because the judgment they gave when you took all the rigorous processes of going to NEC, they've given a lot of judgment, and the EDs will not obey, but they don't monitor to make sure that it's affected.
Okay, do you know all these issues are coming up because we have a kind of monopoly in the system. Now we have geometry handling our bar ring area. But then, EEDC, if you're not connected to them, there's no electricity except you have generator or you use solar. Are you people also thinking of synergizing with the government and the private sector so that other alternatives can come. If we have alternatives, honestly, this won't be happening.
But the power sector have been deregularized, and the Enugu state has just done something. Imo state has done something, but it's not easy to go all into this power or energy setup, the generation, the transmission, and the distribution. It's not an easy thing. And again, it won't be easy for any other company anywhere, because the facilities that we have had from ECN, NEPA, and PSCN, they are all there. So alternative will come. They will come, but let us first of all talk about the equipment. Let them give us our prepared meter. If they give us prepared meter, we'll begin to manage them and see there will be changes. There will be definitely a change.
We are hopeful. We are hopeful.
Thank
So
you very much.
time is not on our side, but before we conclude, what's your word to your members? Because whatever they do has to be done within the ambits of the law.
Yeah.
So they don't run foul of the law.
Yes.
In fighting for their rights.
They can-
What's your advice to them?
The advice, we have
to
given them advice. They should not struggle or fight EEDC people when they come to disconnect. Hold your money. There's no law, forbidding anybody holding your money and staying in darkness. But we've never seen light. So let us stay in darkness. But let also the EEDC know their limitations and where they will stop. Let them not overlap or come over to jump into the rights of individuals. You can't go into the person's house. So go disconnect if you're not paid, but don't remove their wires because you didn't buy the wires for them. That's what we're advising everybody, both the EEDC and our consumers. And then as time goes on, we're going to roll out. And in the next 1 week, we're going to meet, see what other thing we'll do. We don't want to go into physical display of protests and so on, and people will take undue advantage of it, and hooligans will come in there and they say SEECA. So that's why we want to stay in our homes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Obiora Okechukwu. We hope that all these yields bountiful fruits and everybody will be happy at the end.
We'll be
It will be a
delighted.
win-win situation
Yes.
for all involved. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
on
very
our
much. We want it to be lighted.
And that does it on this week's edition of Guest of the Week. We thank you for being a part of the program, and we thank our crew. Watch us next time, same station and same time. Thanks for watching. I am Susan Eze. Bye.